Hey all you cool fans of Patlabor out there. Before the video starts, I want to mention that I was in the process of making this video way sooner than it has came out. You see, if you live in America, we had a thing that happened not too long ago where we got hit by a very, very bad cold front, and it hit my state directly. Directly. My power went out in the middle of the day, and I was left in the dark and the cold. It sucked a lot. That meant this video is coming out a lot later than I originally wanted it to. Now, there's going to be a little rant at the end that isn't as relevant as it would be if the video had came out on time like it should have, but it didn't. So, when going into this video, just know that I wanted this all to be out sooner. Hello everyone, I'm making this video really quick because another EZY bombshell just dropped right when I was in the middle of making another batch of content. As you may know, EZY has official release dates, theatrical ones specifically. That's right, we know when it's coming out. After all these years and all these trials and tribulations, finally, in 2026, we learn that EZY's first debut will be May 15th this year and will drop in batches called files until early 2027. It'll be a while until it finishes up, but I'm sure the experience will be well worth it. For this video, I want to analyze the information we've been shown and other details that have been provided by the official account and the website. After that, I'll tackle my own personal thoughts on what we've seen so far. For starters, we'll look at the brand new official Patlabor EZY website, where we'll see the basic rundown they give at the beginning of every anime and the manga, rapid development of hypertechnology and all that. Then they go, and time passed. In the 2030s, Japan was experiencing a steady decline in its working population, and automation through AI technology was progressing. Labors, once cutting-edge technology, has become established as part of the social infrastructure. Standalone labors, piloted by humans, were becoming obsolete, as they were increasingly replaced by autonomous robots. But even as times change, the job of Special Vehicles Section 2 remains the same, to protect the people and the city. Division 2, along with the AV-98 Plus Ingram Plus, a tuned-up version of the old AV-98 Ingram, will use their wisdom and courage to confront new technology-based crimes. To my knowledge, it felt like Patlabor's world was going to move into this direction. Autonomous labors were already a concept that was explored in TV, the movies, and other media. It's also quite topical as we've been entering an age of artificial intelligence with language models and such taking the wheel in many facets of society. It getting delayed to this point did make the wait grueling, but it gives the opportunity to provide some much needed commentary on the state of the world. It's nice to see that even if they're just mainly autonomous machines now, labors are still a key part of day-to-day life and not just flushed down the drain. It's also crazy to see that they're still using a heavily modified Ingram after all these years. I guess this is just another TNG parallel. This is most likely for the brand recognition issues, cause Patlabor has been dormant for some time, and the Ingram is probably the most eye-catching and recognizable part of the brand. We then move on to the characters. Toa Kuga and Atori Kipe, our new main forward and backup. Voiced by Sumire Uesaka, Toa is pilot of Ingram Unit 1 and is 22 years old, born on August 8th and comes from Tokyo. Filled with a sense of justice and a fighting spirit, she is known for her unflinching spirit in hand-to-hand combat. She enjoys being in a dangerous situation and bases her decisions on her own experience. She can be so bold that she sometimes seems to go out of control, and although she is skilled at piloting, she's not good at shooting. Before being assigned to the 2nd Platoon, she was a police officer at the Public Safety Division. Her hobby is watching period dramas, and she has an older brother who is a police bureaucrat. She and Atori Kipe are a perfect pair, complementing each other's shortcomings. Atori Kipe, voiced by Kikunosuke Toya, is in charge of commanding Ingram Unit 1. He's from Saitama Prefecture and was born on April 12th, making him 23 years old. He's an assistant to Toa who tends to be quite reckless, but he supports her at her mercy. He has a wide range of life hacks and hates anything that doesn't make sense. After deciding between becoming a self-defense force member or a police officer, he decided to become a police officer in Section 2. He was such a big fan of machines that he originally wanted to become a pilot. He even displays a figurine of the original AV-98 Ingram on his desk. He is calm and positive. A romantic too, who loves horoscopes, and is so trusting of people that he is careless about the details. Toa and Atori are pretty synonymous to Noah and Asuma. Toa being a skilled pilot hesitant to shoot, who used to work in public safety before transferring to Section 2, though she isn't exactly the same as she comes from Tokyo, and she has a sibling too, along with her likely being more unpredictable and explosive similarly to Oda. When it comes to Hattori, he's probably going to be a bit more timid in comparison to Asuma. He assists Toa, but it's at her mercy, likely going to have a hard time wrangling this forward. He's stated to have life hacks, so I assume he's the kind of guy to always compensate and improvise similarly to Asuma. Him being a big fan of machines would also make him pretty knowledgeable about labors like Asuma, though in contrast he's calm and positive, as well as a romantic who loves horoscopes. He's also trusting of people that he is careless about the details, though it also states that he hates things that don't make sense. Not sure how those two aspects about him will work out. It's clear they borrow the archetypes from Noah and Asuma, but differentiate themselves enough to not be exact copies, something I can appreciate given the fresh start. Can't quite say the same for the main machine this time around though. The AV-98 Plus Ingram, commonly known as the Ingram Plus, is used by Special Vehicle Section 2 Division 2, which is an improved version of the original AV-98 Ingram that was rolled out in 1998. In addition to performance improvements through tuning of the entire machine, there have also been updates to the control system software too. However, because it has been in active service for around 40 years by this point, undergoing repeated improvements and refurbishments, it is sometimes mocked by the police officers at the police box as junk. The pilot's headgear uses an AR HUD that projects information directly into the pilot's field of vision, allowing them to check necessary information without having to look away. This is the same Ingram from 1998, the TNG Ingram if it wasn't a hunk of junk basically. I was hoping it was a new labor with an Ingram shell, but it is what it is. It's likely due to brand recognition. I would have liked them to use maybe the Peacemaker or the Valiant, but the Ingram is the machine that turns heads. So that's all for the basic information, and I'll move on to the analysis of the trailer we've seen so far. For this portion of the video, I'll include my original analysis of the first NHK broadcast, and then I will move on to the more recent stuff that we just saw. With the NHK broadcast, we see a view of Tokyo and Landfill 13, aka the reclaimed land that the Section 2 building resides on. One can clearly see that the metropolitan area has expanded all the way to the doorstep of Section 2, which was originally more of a remote location. The land mass of the reclaimed land kinda appears to be smaller as well. This could be a stylistic choice, but it could also be the result of the development. It could be a different location, but I sincerely doubt that they'd build the same exact shack if they relocated Section 2. The building itself is a little different, with some added posts that line its exterior that aren't there in the original. Afterwards, we see pre-rendered footage of the Type 0, which shows up in episode 2 quite early. Since this is TV timeline, the entire Haas debacle never happened, which begs the question as to why it'd be an antagonistic force, likely due to the aforementioned AI-controlled labors. The first episode is also titled "The Trend is #Second Platoon," likely having something to do with Section 2's social media presence, something similarly seen in the reboot short. I also wouldn't be quick to say that it's a current day thing, as SV2 doing PR campaigns and appearing in news media such as the paper and television isn't new. We see the members of the team and characters that resemble some of the original team members, likely playing off the established archetypes of characters such as Shinji, Goto, Ota, and possibly Hiromi. This character looks extremely familiar too. Toa and Kippe are probably appropriated from the forward and backup from Reboot, along with the captain as well. Though the two have had their roles reversed, probably to keep tradition. While I understand that, I am going to miss the serial tweaker that was the forward of Unit 1. We see the lineup of characters, which will probably be the entirety of Division 2, or at least the main unit we'll be following. We've already seen a lot of these characters, though there is one here that we have yet to take a good look at. Another interesting frame here, pre-rendered footage of a multi-legged red labor. One of the first new, easy original labors we've seen. We still don't have many details on it, but I am greatly interested in what role it could play in the story. Another thing that I pointed out before in my last easy video, this Mori Labor Rental that we keep seeing on the labors, perhaps Mori Labor Rental could be a new company, possibly an antagonist that Section 2 will have to deal with at some point in the story. We also see that Unit 2 has a new attachment, resembling a Sasamata or a man catcher, a tool that's already used in Japan by the police force. The head of Unit 2 also resembles its second and third movie one, rather than the first movie and TV head. Likely a stylistic choice, like the uniforms being appropriated from Division 2's appearance in the third movie. We also see interior shots of the Ingram. The Labor pilots have completely adopted headsets into their cockpits, not too dissimilar from Labor such as the Griffin, the Type 0, along with later usages of the Ingram as seen in Patlabor 2. We've got more pre-rendered footage, some showing the Type 0 and a truck hauling metallic sodium, at least that's what my translator is saying. On the topic of vehicles, we see shots of the command car, and I don't think it's a stretch to assume that it takes a similar design philosophy from the vehicles seen in Patlabor 3. The mini patrol car used by the captain also appears to be rounder and more oblong in comparison to the one we've seen in Patlabor 2, which is likely what the design is inspired from. The newer trailer opens up when we see all the same characters from the NHK broadcast and by proxy the original EZY pilot. The woman in glasses appears to be in the Type 98 style command car, quite different from the command car we've seen in the previous footage, though upon re-examination, we can see it appears in the broadcast as well, just obscured by the new vehicle. This begs the question as to what the difference between these two vehicles could be. Perhaps the Type 98 could be more utility based, while the new one is more for communications and better point-to-point field management. We see a couple more characters, this one character who looks suspiciously like Noah and Asuma again. I hope they've rectified their Tsushima mistake with this. A guy saluting in what looks to be an Oda type character with the blood streaming down his face giving a thumbs up. Funnily enough, this is the most blood we've seen in Patlabor aside from Wasted 13. It's called Amnesia Does Not Count. After a shot of Toa boarding Unit 1 and readying its baton, we see what's possibly the results of the completion of the Babylon project. There's a good chance this is or is related to the Kawasaki and Kizurazu Islands that formed the Castle Gate. It's 2036, so the project should be completed by now, with other parts of the project just being megastructures and subterranean stuff. Though, we'll see if that comes to pass. We hear the voices of Toa and Atori, and they sound nice. This is likely the aftermath of episode 1 that we saw in the broadcast. We then see another shot of this guy, who will probably serve as either the Shinobu or possibly even the Kumagami role, given his badge, which hints at him being a rank sergeant. A couple shots later, we see this old man who was without a doubt Shigeo Shiba. Look at him, that's quite literally him. Jolly old man, I hope he's still at SV2. A few more scenes in, we see this shot where it's red text flashing all around with emergency and data breach written across it. That along with the Oda character looking very befuddled in the fisheye lens, telling me some kind of hacking or compromisation is happening right now. Then we'd see a shot of this labor, which is pretty much a helldiver. Lots of laborers that are just returning now. This is probably another episode separate from the first and second if I had to guess. We'd also get a shot of the interior of the labor carrier featuring this girl who is either taking the Shige or Sakaki position, depending on if Shige is still at SV2. We actually saw this scene in a storyboard from the NHK broadcast, and here it is in color. The very next clip is obviously the manipulator of the Type 0. However, any fan who had been keeping an eye on the EZY project would know that we already saw footage of the Type 0 during the broadcast. Still, it's a cool little teaser. Last but not least, we get a shot of Toa enraged and Unit firing its revolver cannon with the situation happening around this graveyard. This could be some kind of emotional moment. All of the graveyard type scenes tend to be that way. So, after seeing this preview, I am thoroughly excited. There's genuinely so much content ahead, and I feel like Patlabor can come back in strides. Now, I'll just give my thoughts and other takes in regards to this Patlabor phenomenon. For starters, I still think the CG is alright. I know, there are people who demand hand-drawn mechs back. Patlabor's had some pretty fantastic quality hand-drawn mechanical animation, I cannot deny. However, in this day and age, expecting hand-drawn mechs is asking quite a bit if you're not Sunrise. Hell, even Sunrise has been moving towards CG. And here's the thing, I'm sure all these studios, all these producers, they would love to do hand-drawn stuff again. The move towards CG isn't mostly an aesthetic thing, it's more or less compensating for an ever-shrinking talent pool. There aren't enough people who are skilled at doing mechanical animation to go around. It's not something you can simply just throw money at. CG at least guarantees a level of consistency. If they just had Joe Schmoes doing the robot animation, the best you're gonna get is something akin to this entire part of Suspicious Duo. And I'm not saying you gotta like the computer-generated images. You can not prefer them over hand-drawn stuff. Who am I to tell you what to like? But in my opinion, you've really just gotta adjust your expectations for when it comes to this stuff. I'd also like to mention that with the Babylon project done, it would be interesting to see the progress and development of other projects that spawned from the original movement. The Tower City, the Artificial Islands, the Geo City. The Geo City is something I would love to see explored more, as there's more detail that goes into the concept in Patlabor the labor industry. It uses the GeoCity as part of the late-stage vision of the Babylon project in 2050, likely another project that requires the manpower of laborers. Such a thing could open up opportunities for interesting settings and plot lines, adding to the general world that had been established. Another thing I want to point out, something we're all extremely curious about, this one character, who's actually female by the way, having features that make her resemble Noah and Asuma. Maybe I shouldn't speak too soon, but there's a good chance she might be the child of the two. I'm sure I don't need to go into the details of the relationship between these two characters that likely blossomed into this labor of love. This moment from episode 21 can do all the talking for me.
Asuma. ありがとう。
It would be a great payoff to all those moments that really push the idea of the two being something a bit more than just friends, with even the next generation confirming it. Giving her height, it's likely she'll play a Hiromi-like role. I feel like I'll like her a lot as a character. Also, given that the main background element in EZY will basically involve artificial intelligence, and the fact that we're seeing instances of compromisation leading to possibly rogue labor such as the Hercules in the Type 0, I think it'll tie into who could be the main antagonistic force in EZY. Mori Labor Rental keeps appearing here and there. I don't think it's just the name of another company dishing out labors to construction companies. Since labor work is shifting towards pure autonomy, it allows for more instances of software compromisation. Mori Labor Rental might be complicit in installing backdoors into the labors they're lending, leading to labor crime that SGT has to respond to. The main issue is I have yet to figure out what the gain from this would be. We've done autonomous labor plotlines before, so I fear that this could be retreading old territory. Still, I have faith that overall, the viewing experience will be satisfactory to any fan of Patlabor willing to stick around this long. One last thing I want to address, on Twitter, currently X, the Everything app, there's been quite a stir because of JC Staff's involvement with Patlabor EZY. People were all on edge at first because JC Staff's reputation and the recent One Punch Man Season 3 controversy. Thankfully, EZY's quality seems to be up to standard. Anyone keeping track of the project's development could have told you that even before Season 3 of One Punch Man aired. However, I have seen some fans of One Punch Man getting very agitated at the quality of Patlabor EZY in comparison to Season 3. First thing I want to say is I myself have had an interest in One Punch Man. I watched Season 1, I watched Season 2, I even caught up to the manga. I was there for all the chapter redraws and the complete overhauling of the entire arcs on a whim. I am just as disappointed in Season 3's animation and production quality as you all are. However, Patlabor EZY has nothing to do with One Punch Man and vice versa. EZY has been in development for years by this point, before Season 3 even started production. EZY's production isn't even being handled by Bandai. These two properties have no relation to each other. I have seen people lie and slander Patlabor trying to devalue its influence and writing it off just because they haven't heard of it. Don't do this. It's stupid. Not only does that help nobody, but a lot of things being said here are just wrong. Bandai making an RG Ingram has nothing to do with production. I'm sure it's the other way around. Patlabor isn't a niche franchise. It is still a cornerstone series in Japan and known around the world, especially by big creators in the West. The only reason you haven't heard of it is because it comes from the 80s. Most mainstream anime discussion centers around current anime and manga, with a handful of franchises from the 90s and sometimes the 80s. If you ask any anime fan with a heavy investment in Japanese entertainment if they know Patlabor, there's a high chance they will know. I'm not here to beef with Battle Shonen fans or One Punch Man fans. All I'm saying is that your anger is misplaced. It's not Patlabor's fault. This is just another big franchise getting its own thing because it was so beloved. Just because you have not heard of it does not mean it lacks relevancy and has no fans. I would say be mature about this, but when it comes to anything anime ever, that may as well just be a tall order. But yeah, that's it. Patlabor EZY is going to have a JP theatrical release this May on the 15th, it being the first of 3 episodes that likely hit streaming soon after. The second batch being August 14th, and the final one being sometime March next year. It'll be a wait, but we've waited 10 years for this. We can wait a little longer. All I ask is that in the meantime, Headgear, please put all of Patlabor on streaming. Reprint the Blu-rays. We are starving in the States. It might be asking too much, but it'd be awesome if we get an official manga translation, maybe even the novels as well. I and many other fans want to give you money. These scalpers are evil. Let us pay you for your product, I beg. Anyways, this is the end of the video. I hope it comes out really soon because I have so much I still gotta get done before then. If you liked the video and this is the first one you're watching, be sure to check out my other Patlabor videos too. Follow me on my socials, like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you.